Thank you so much, Adriana. Where usually we have so much material to cover that we tend to skip this first part. But tonight, um, our partner Cristiane, she's traveling all the way from Tampa. That's how special this program is. She was caught in the rain, and the rain delayed. So about 10 minutes ago, she was still getting to exit 73, and she should be here in about 5, 10 minutes. But we do this in partnership because there is a lot of, it's not just a lot of responsibility. It's very important doing meditation in two, because it's where meditation and spiritism come together, and they go together because um, spiritism has the basis of magnetism, of communicating, right, between one one physical existence with the invisible. Because it's invisible, it doesn't mean that it's dead. It's more alive than we are, in fact. If you conceive life as our energy movement, as our feelings, or everything that we are about, because we continue on. So in order for us to have the best filter, in order for us to have the best ingest and received all of this. And communication is not just by means of words, of talking. Communication, it's receiving, it's being inspiring, and it's just sometimes when you're not feeling so well, and you in your own type of meditation or prayer, and your silence, and you say, God, it's a bad day. I'm not feeling well. Things are not very good. I need some help. Can you please help? At that time, we're making communication. We are not just asking God, because God has so much to do, but at the same time, God has a lot of good spirits, armies, legions of what they what we were raised to know, like, God has legions of angels, all of these angels. And we now, without the with our involvement or our education and our evolution, we know that these angels is not necessarily just those with the wings and all, but there are people like us who have being here longer. They have learned their lesson, they have refined their souls morally, and their love has grown so much. Love in action, charity, compassion, doing for others. It grew so much that we're in that kind of growth, they got closer to God. And the closer we got to the Creator, the more that He would demand for us to continue to be His co creator. There's more responsibilities. And that's why we have, when we open here, we say we ask for the blessings from our spiritual benefactors, because a spiritual center, or any place of worship, any place that we bring God, we bring Jesus, we bring the good, the divine, the superior forces, we are surrounded. We have these spiritual mentors preparing here. We are a hospital. In a night like this, we are pretty much like an emergency room, um, in many sense of the word, but especially our spiritual brothers and sisters, the ones who have discarnated and passed before us, or you know, they they being they're being in the spiritual world for a while, or they have just been there recently, but they're still sort of like earthbound, means that they haven't yet found peace in their hearts to move on and find their spiritual residence and their spiritual path. So, just like human beings that they are broken and hurt and have so many problems, they come for assistance, and they come here. And with our good vibrations, with with the love that we pour in and the work that we prepared, not just this, but the works that will continue, we will assist them. And in assisting them, we actually assist them ourselves too. So, just like a quick intro, just to talk about this communication level. My glass kind of fussy like this. Sometimes I wear glasses, but I prefer not to. I prefer the to be blind but real. So we're talking about, is happiness real? And Christiane will talk about the second part. So we broke this in two parts. But I must say, this is going to be just part one because this book has 7 steps of how to make sense of happiness, how to understand uh, what we can do to make our conception and our understanding and our experience of happiness to be something a little more practical, something that makes a little more sense. And that's why this year we are exploring what we call the program here in the Spiritism meditation: seek and you shall find. That means that we bring tools, and Christiane and I, we have a lot of study in the Spiritism doctrine, and we're looking for good meditation books, some good self improvement books that are very spiritual, and they come together, and we'll bring here. We explore. We do a lot of analytics in the sense of, is this good? Is this tools that can we bring this? And we found this book, and it's a bestseller. It's a very very smart Harvard professor, very full of life, and he has a lot to share. So that part, because it has 7 steps and we don't like to just rush into it, we might not be able to cover um, all of them, but we will cover what we can cover because we try to stay with this program to start in a 7 and close no later than 7:45, and then after here we go to the passes, and everything will flow. So disclaimer done for part one. If you guys haven't done this, sometimes I forget. If you can put your phone on the on the vibration call, and if you want to turn it off, it's even better. But when we are here, let's try just to focus and be present. Let's try to avoid our contact with our little friend. This is a question that is very. I love this question because Allan Kardec in the Spirits book, question 920. Can people enjoy complete happiness while on earth? No, because life has been given to them as either a trial or an expiation. It is up to them to mitigate their misfortunes and be as happy as possible while on earth. So I'm sure you are very familiar with the term trial and expiation. So it sounds a little bit in the negative portion here, right? It's like, oh, it's like, so there is no happiness. There is Christianity, right on time. So it's there is no happiness. Well, there is, but in order for you to achieve something, we have to be prepared for it. It's like we're not prepared to have that happiness in the sense that we we can take it responsibly, right? Just like it's there's stuff that we you cannot trust a child to do. Cannot give a 8-year-old your cart for that boy or to the girl to drive because it is too much of a responsibility for them, and they might not appreciate everything that comes with it. They might even know how to drive. Let's assume that 8-year-old is a very smart little boy or little girl, and mom and dad, I can drive. But there is a reason why, human law, we have, you gotta go to the permit phase, gotta be 16, and you gotta drive together with a responsible adult, usually is a parent, and then, most cases, the best, you go to driving school, all of this stuff, and then you go to the tests. You take the road test. You take like a written test that you know what the sign means, or you go here, you know when to brake, safety, care, all of that good stuff. After you pass all of that, then you can have your driver's license. You're already driving, so you have a taste of it little by little. It's more or less what he's saying here. I'm just trying to make a little bit of an analogy. It's like we have happiness, it's relative. We have to we have to learn how to achieve it, and then once we are just about achieving, we have to make sure that we know and we take responsibility for everything else that comes with it. Just like I was saying, we, like very imperfect spirits, our goal is to be reach perfection, just like we're talking about the mentors who are responsible for all of this. They're like doctors, and they're they're just they're just so evolved that they just live out of love, just out of compassion, and they have such a power. But it took a long journey for them to get there, and that's the same journey that we're going to get there. And guess what? God is so good that they're right with us. The moment that before we were incarnated in this world, we already had one mentor, one guided spirit that is not just smarter intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, so much more evolved that they can guide us through this life, so we can go through this trial and this expiation. Expiation, if you translate it to an easier word, it's like to get rid of our bad habits, get rid of our evil tendencies. Because you cannot just blame the devil for everything. We we're the devil. We have our evil tendencies from lives and lives and lives doing the same stuff that we don't evolve. So we do have this evil, and the good and the bad live with us because it's part of our character, it's part of our experiences. Imagine that we've been living on and on for many many lives. So we have to learn the devil that we are, so we are less of that, and one day we'll be just more close to perfection. So they help us, they're there every step of the way. And you got it from here? Good? Makes sense? Doing like Al's break. I like when Al talks, he has this break. We're good? Another 3 hours, right, Tim? That's Al Turris. So in question 921, Kardec asked the superior spirits, we can understand that people will be happy on the earth when humanity as a whole is finally transformed. So he's coming like, okay, let's see if we can get to the end of this book. So kind of let's speed up. Let's see if we can get happy now. But meanwhile, is it possible for anyone to enjoy relative happiness? So here he's trying, okay, the first answer on happiness. The less unhappiness that we create, the opposite happens, right? The law, that's a law, the action and reaction. So the less unhappy choices, unwise or evil choices, if we go that road, the less evil we do, the better we're closer to our happiness, even relative happiness. If they would, when they say they, it's us, when they would practice the law of God, which is breathing love, living love. Everything we do, it's nothing to do with just the self. It's like, what is good for the world today? What can I do to help these people who in Miami Beach? What can I do Can I just pray home? It's good. But if I was a little more perfected myself, I will probably have driven there already. I will be there and see anything I could do about it. I will be that's a different version of us. We'll get there. Will take time. But that's the law of God. It's love, love, breathing love in action. They would spare themselves many misfortunes and enjoy a state of happiness that is as great as their existence in such a dense plane will allow. We are, you see, we're just talking about a tragedy, right? We are in this planet, and the schooling that we're going through right now is like the hardest one. So Earth, while it's in transformation, it's like our school, but it's like imagine when on our high school. I went to public high school, and my high school was very tense. I would see boys fighting all the time, and they would just enjoy. It was like it was great, and it's like I cannot believe that. And I was a little bit nerdy, so I didn't hang out with the wrong crowd, but that was going on. And in my town was like it's half of the town living in a lot of poverty. The other half, you know, they were like trying to be middle class, and a very little bit was a little bit upper middle class. Um, and it was always like you see people having tremendous needs of everything. And those boys that were fighting, they were just because they didn't have enough love at home. They didn't have many, and it was so. Earth is like this. It's still messy. We're still unbalanced, and it's necessary for us to go through all of this, learn from it, and move forward. I will invite Christiane to talk about the happiness advantage now. So here she is. I'll let you move forward and please. And thanks for coming. And thanks for arriving.
Hello, everybody. So, this book, The Happiness Advantage, was Livia had talked about it maybe a month ago or so in one of her talks here. And I got curious. And of course, I bought the book and I devoured it. And it sat with me. And I said, we should talk about this book because it's such a great message. And we got this, we're going to talk about all the principles of the book, but I said it's a lot of information for one night. And I said maybe I can just focus on two of the main points that really touched me. And I think it's going to resonate with most of you guys. When Valdo talks about the relative happiness, everything is relative from your point of perception. If you are looking at something from this point, it's very different than looking from there, looking this way. So when we talk about happiness being a relative term, we all know what happiness feels like, or when we envision ourselves happy. Nobody needs to tell us what that is. We already know. We have that picture very clear. But what is unhappiness? Do we know what unhappiness is? Do we know what we feel when we are unhappy? What is unhappiness for you?
Happiness is when things hurt.
When things hurt, disappointments, when you get stuck in traffic and you cannot make it here on time. But actually, when this book, he talks about the real definition of unhappiness is not all these obstacles that we see. The obstacles, what they are, is a prep for happiness. Because when you hurt, it you have a chance to try harder, to look for an alternative route, to try a different way of doing things. So it's a stop for a catapulting into something good. So unhappiness is just a hold, take a pause so you can search for the happiness. It's actually a good thing. We don't like it, but if we look back in our lives, all the ugly moments, all the suffering, it gave us a chance to regroup, reset, and find the right way. So it actually helped us grow. And since we are here for growing, it actually is a good thing. He talks about the opposite of happiness being apathy, when you just don't care. Nothing, no, you are hurting, you don't even care that you hurt. There are obstacles, you don't even care that they are there. You just don't want to deal with them. And that is when we have to think, am I getting to this level of apathy with anything in my life? You know, when you have that person in your life that you just say, you know what, I give up. When we give up on somebody, when we give up on a dream, when we give up on a child, sometimes we give up on a child, that is unhappiness. The obstacles, the things that hurt, the things that make you struggle are just pit stops for us to get to where we need to go. And because we always like to talk about strategies, we don't have a lot of time here, but I'm going to just touch one of the principles. I'm not even going to go to all of them, but I picked one and I picked my favorite. Maybe some of you girls are going to resonate with that. Um, he talks about the Zorro circle. What brings to my mind is Antonio Banderas. So that is something to keep in mind. That very elegant, able to do everything, zip up the sword and get everything taken care of, and swing through chandeliers and save the world. That's pretty cool. Uh, but he didn't get there overnight. The story goes that when Alejandro was so decided that he was going to save the world and he was going to do everything for the people that didn't have all they needed, the unfairness of the world, he tried his way. He had the desire, he had the wish to do it, but he had no discipline. So he went and tried, and then he fell because everything he tried eventually didn't work because there was just the desire. And sometimes we do have the desire, we want to do this, but there's no discipline. So one day when he's feeling down that nothing was working, Don Diego comes and say to him, I am going to help you get to that level because I see the potential, like our mentors see our potential. They know we can do this. And Don Diego tells Alejandro, what you need to do is work within a circle. So he draws a circle on the dirt and tells him, you're going to fight from this circle. Nothing else matters. This is your circle. Your life is within this circle. Everything beyond this is not for you to worry about. Get the discipline, get acquainted with this area, make sure you have the power, the discipline, and the control of this situation, of who you are in this circle. And as you take control and you own that space, we're going to make a circle a little bigger, a little bigger. And that to me is such a great analogy. For one thing, again, Antonio Banderas is right there in a circle. So it's a great visual to have. And doing it gracefully. If you've seen the Zorro movie, he's graceful. Everything is upright. He knows what he wants. The vision is there. He has an intention. But there is softness in the doing. Even though he's fighting the world, you don't see the ugliness of the fight because he does it with a purpose of getting somewhere, with purpose of helping other people. And this is what I was thinking that we should focus on tonight's talk. How can we, what are the things in our lives that we need to go back to our smaller circle? We're trying to do a lot of stuff and trying to accomplish too many things, but we don't have the discipline to address all of them. Maybe not in every aspect, but let's say with our professional, with our relationship with our partner, or with our children, or with our coworkers, whatever it is. if our circle is too wide, that we are losing the control of the situation, that we don't have the discipline, that we find ourselves disappointed in our actions, in our choices, maybe we just need to shrink that circle just a little bit so we can see better, we can find our moves, we can move a little more gracefully, and then expand a little more. That resonated with me so much that I made some changes in my routine, and it's about my study. For me, this time, my study was slacking a little bit, my spiritism studies. So I said, I'm gonna narrow my and narrow my circle a little bit and have the discipline of scheduling a time, putting a timer, giving myself a theme that I'm gonna study. Just and that improved my study a lot because I put a strategy. But the good thing about it, it made me so much happier that I am able to study and I learn exactly what I want to learn. So the relative happiness for me at today is related to improving my studies. And that brings such peace to my heart that my Zorro circle will be able to grow a little wider in the next month or so because I'm getting a grip on where I am with this right now. So the question here is, where are we needing to be humble enough to make our circles just a little smaller so we can get a grip and then move on to making the circle bigger but with a little more discipline to it? Does it make sense when we say something like this? If we leave here with not a lot, because sometimes it's a lot of information, but if you remember that the opposite of happiness is not the obstacle that we face, it is the lack of care, is the apathy towards what's happening. And if we can identify those and learn that I need to regroup on those areas and understand that there is a reason, there is a purpose, there is a learning in that obstacle, and maybe we can flip that coin. And the second thing for us to remember is, where is my circle, my Zorro circle, too wide that I have no control? And I invite you all to explore your circles and fight your fight gracefully and learn to use your tools and your resources as best as you can. It's working. Some days we're gonna fall, we're still gonna get our knees, on the ground. Sometimes we're gonna lose our tools, sometimes we're gonna lose ourselves. But if we keep the circle within an area that we can manage, I think the relative happiness comes to us a little faster. That's a short and sweet talk. So, we're getting ready for our meditation. And it's super fun to meditate with happiness. But sometimes we have to touch the unhappiness because we have to remember the unhappiness is what takes us to that point of being happy, aware, and appreciating the hurt that got us here. Okay, I'm going to ask Valdo to come and do the meditation tonight, and I'm going to just sit and enjoy it.
By the way, we were telepathically talking. I told him that there's going to be a part two, even a part three, because there's a lot to cover and it's great. So um, I just going to, so we're going to talk all about this. See the Zoro circle there that Christiane mentioned? Number five, when challenges loom and we get overwhelmed, our rational brains can get hijacked by emotions. We can regain control by focusing first on small, manageable goals, the small circle, and then gradually expand our circle to achieve bigger and bigger goals. So I also select this little picture from our last talk because this is something very important for us to get our mind off everything that's being busy and getting our clouding everything what we just learned here. Let's make our goals in a small circle and let's put everything in. Let's not be all over the place. Let's put everything in. And then as we master gracefully, as you mentioned, and then we can find ourselves just like in that bee right now, she's in her Zorro circle because you know what she cares about? Not the that 1 ton of honey that she's going to probably produce. I'm exaggerating, a ton of honey, it's a lot, but she's going to produce kilos and kilos of honey throughout her little existence. But she doesn't care about that. She doesn't care that there is a beehive there waiting for her to her or him, I don't even, it doesn't matter, to do what they right now. It's her and that flower in that moment, and just doing what she does best and enjoying the moment. That's how we like in our meditation for us to be right now. Okay, I'm going to we're going to run here this little, oops, here, I guess it goes here to, okay. I can We can lower the lights if you can help with that. Okay. Just relax. Try to get to this. For some reason, I have a little meditation background and nice soft music that comes with it. And just give me one quick second. And we're gonna get there. Okay. Right. Maybe Italo. Um, it just put us some background music. It doesn't matter. We don't need to have video. Just like some piano if you can. Um, some Mozart or it doesn't matter. So our guided meditation, it's going to be bringing us back to that small circle using the tools we have. And I'm gonna do my own guided meditation, very personal, but that's a great tool that I use and I think we can all use. It's based on the Lord's Prayer because for meditation can be the pre the step before you actually make a bigger connection. It's like I want to make a connection with God. I wanted to make that such a connection that I really pour my heart in it and I can receive, because it's just like Jesus said, you knock and the door shall open. But sometimes we don't even know where the door is and how to knock, and we're kind of uncertain if we're even worth to try. So the Lord's Prayer is so powerful. It's so powerful that we can use as a tool. So I will start, and we are going to go to the steps of the Lord's Prayer, and I'm going to meditate in each of the parts of it. And it's going to be like a meditation and a prayer at the same time, but in order for me to get to that place. So just, yeah, other one there too. If you can just plant the light over there in the back? Will you get this light here, please? Thank you. It's good that we feel or sit ourselves comfortably in our chairs. If you, for some reason, get distracted, now there is a video of nature with a nice soft piano music in the background. Um, it's better if you close your eyes, and if for some reason your mind gets very busy with whatever, you just concentrate here in the screen and try to go back into that place. And we can do this in the morning, at night, or any time that you have some a break, or you just feel like you can use this time for serenity. We can do anything we want. We can do everything we want to calm our minds, to direct our emotions, our goals. We can work with the unhappiness that we're feeling right now, that we're experiencing, and we can make that be transformed. But we need to make a connection, starting with a connection with the opening our meditation and a prayer. As we just sit here in this space, visualizing and feeling beautiful nature around us, let's transport ourselves into a valley with green, green, beautiful pastures and flowers around, with a lake, a mountain in the back, birds chirping. And we find ourselves quietly peaceful, and we reflect upon the Lord's prayers, such a gift left for us. And we start saying, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In saying those words, I am recognizing how important it is to have the presence of God, a loving Father, present in our lives. Heaven, meaning that we are in this planet, but we are surrounded by billions and billions and billions of other planets and galaxies, stars. So the power of our spirit is so great that there is a reason why we are part of this universe. And how that's how powerful and good God is, to have made everything so perfect. And I can only reach and see what this existence allows me to right now. But I worship the fact that there is such a creator. I appreciate life that was given to me. Be done your will and not ours. Because we recognize how spiritually mature we still are. We recognize that we are very selfish. And as we leave this one more trial and testing our endurance and our characters, we still realize that we make mistakes, and we have been making mistakes, and we're doing so much better. But still, we have not learned and recognized that your will, your grace, is much larger than what I want for my life. A father knows what's best for their child, even when the child exercising the free will turns away. His will is for us to come back and enjoy His presence and His love. Our daily bread that's given today, please help us have the power and the strength we need every day. The bread of educating ourselves, our intellectual intelligence, the material means that we need to provide for those who depend on us and for ourselves. So important, however, never disconnecting from you, God. Help us receive forgiveness so we can forgive others, those who had trespassed, offended, those who are in debt with us, those that we have hated, those that we still have a strong sense of disgust. We have we have had many of those people in our lives. And it's hard to go through this forgiveness, unable to forget everything that has been done. However, we stay right in front of you, before you, Father, because we are asking others for their perfection while we have not reached that yet. Today we are the victims. Yesterday and before, in the past, we were the villains. We have committed crimes and violence and acts that we, if we could see it, watch that tape, the film of our before lives, so many people that we hurt and we did bad, we wronged, so much apathy. And now we are the victims. And we are faced with those again and again. So, Father, give me the strength and the courage to recognize that I am so imperfect, that I don't even know what I have done, but I know that I'm no angel yet. I wanted to get there, but I know it will take time. So help me be less hypocritical. Let me be true to myself. Let me be open to forgiving myself so I can forgive others. And I know only forgiving that I can be forgiven. If I don't forgive, I'm not able to receive forgiveness. And that is a big dilemma. Please, Father, allow us to overcome this, because that is the core of our unhappiness, the hurt, the sadness, the reliving over and over those situations that made us so unhappy and hurt. Let us feel your embrace, saying, my child, it's okay. You'll be fine. Let it go. Let it go. Let him go. Let it pass. So you can move forward. And in moving forward, We ask you, Father, after I have forgiven, don't let me fall into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Deliver me from evil. Don't let me fall into the temptation of going back and taking back and doing things the way I used to. Let me be the new person, the new, renewed me that has more compassion and love for everyone. And help me get rid of the evil that I still have inside of me. Again, I'm still in the path of perfection, but I still have so much to work on myself. Don't let me fall into temptation, but deliver us from this evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and all the glory. With you, Father, everything is possible. I pray that you are with me every step of the way. And I thank you so much for giving me great people in my life, to have a spiritual companion who's there helping and assisting. We thank you so much, Father, because life makes more sense with you in it. My happiness makes more sense with you in it. Let me be your instrument of peace. Let me be your instrument of love, because it is in giving that we receive. And it is in dying that we wake up for eternal life. And in your name, O divine or power, we thank you so much. And so be it. Our brother Tim is going to invite us for the passes now.